I, 32 male, have two sons, Jamie, 11 male, and Jaden, 10 male. Their mother and I were high school sweethearts who had the boys before we finished college. We had planned to get married, but then I found out my ex was cheating on me, and I broke up with her. Jaden was 14 months old at the time. We split custody, and I paid child support for the first 18 months post-breakup, until my ex was earning similarly to me, which meant child support was ceased, and costs were simply split with nobody giving anyone extra. My ex had another two sons years after we broke up. The father was not in the picture. She told me he was the guy she cheated on me with, and that she realized he was a piece of crap, etc., and asked if I would consider adopting her son and raising him as my own alongside our boys. I told her I wasn't going to do that. We ended up arguing about this for so long that she had time to get into another relationship and move this man in. So I told her that he should be a father figure to her son, since they plan on building a life together. Within a year, that guy was gone, and she had a daughter he fathered. I continued being a dad to my sons only. I didn't interact with her other two children, but I would see them from a distance during exchanges. She asked me to adopt both her additional children, stating they needed a father. I told her to go and find their fathers then. She eased up when she met her husband. I thought maybe it was finally the end of her trying to make me responsible for her other children. She has a child with her husband now too, so 5 in total in her household, when our boys are included. But it has not lasted. My ex has admitted her husband isn't involved in the lives of her other children, and they are still missing out on having a father. So she asked me to include her 3 other children, and that does include the child she has with her husband, in days out I have with my sons. She said especially during summer and around Christmas, when I take them to do fun holiday-themed activities. It's not something she can give her other children, and she wants them to experience these things also. She finds out when I do these things with my boys because she will quiz them about their time with me, and each time she gets angry. But when the boys were with her 2 weeks ago, she got extra pissed. She had mentioned to me that her son, the oldest of her other 3 kids, didn't get much for his birthday, and she had wanted to make it up to him. That was meant to mean me. So when she heard our boys and I had visited an amusement park around his birthday, she blew a fuse and asked me how I can be such an a-hole to children. She told me I should be doing better as a father. Am I the a-hole? That is a special kind of crazy. You know what would have fixed all her problems? Not cheating on you. Yeah, all her children would have a dad. No one's playing favorites. Nobody's missing out on birthdays or holidays because you're actually a good father to your children. It's amazing she has the absolute gall to ask you to take in her other kids. How do you even go about this? I know I cheated on you, but my other child, my other children. Look, my frickin' brood of children don't have dads, so it'd be great if you just adopted all of them. Hell, you're not the a-hole. Wow, your ex has made some really poor decisions. No need for you to pay for them, OP. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your ex has some audacity, doesn't she? She tried to baby trap 3 different men, and they all failed. She keeps coming back to you because you're the only one responsible enough to be involved in your kids' lives. How much do you want to bet that she asked the other men to be a father to her previous kids too? If she can't provide for her existing children, then she should stop having them. How could she be such an a-hole to children? You are not obligated to play dad to her other children at all. They are not your responsibilities. She needs to focus on giving her children the best life she can, not finding a man to take care of them so she doesn't have to. So, I have a very crappy relationship with my family. They only contact me when they need something. Money. I have been through therapy and learned how to say no to people. Honestly, I still struggle, but I also hate when people try to manipulate me. I have several siblings, but 2 of my brothers are the apples of my mother's eyes, and they are useless. Barely earn anything, never have savings, always needed support from my father, but my father has died, so my mother took the job of sponsoring my bros. Mind you, both these bros have 3 to 4 kids each. I am child-free and earn good. I have worked my butt off to be where I am. Without any support of family, and in fact, due to of family, I am where I am today. I usually don't mind helping sick bro, sick kids, etc. And I am done for a few months. I recently went on vacation, 3 countries, 15 days. So I did write my mother about my whereabouts.
She kept asking me about how much hotel costs and flight, etc. Me being dumb, I just told her rough costs. So yesterday I arrived back and I get a call from her. I was sleeping, so I missed it. I got up to another call early morning today, and that's when I knew something was coming up. So here's the conversation after general chit-chat. Entitled Mom: Hey OP, I see you got hair and nails done. How much was it? Me, confused. Around €150. What's up? You want to color your hair? Entitled Mother: No, actually your younger bro is going to get operated. He needs money to pay bills, kids' school, for food, etc. Me: Okay, get well soon to him. Entitled Mother: I want you to send him some money so he can afford things for 2 months. Me: I'm sorry, what? Why do I have to pay for him? Entitled Mother: Because, OP, you travel around the world. You spend so much on your hair and nails. You should take care of your siblings. Me: No, I should not pay for them. I earn for myself and am entitled to do whatever with my money. EM: Shame on you. Your elder brother, only rich bro, helped him. You should also participate. Me: Wow, Mono actually paid for him? Why are you asking me to pay then? Entitled Mother: Because it's not enough for their standard of living. You should pay so he doesn't worry. Me: I have nothing to help, sorry. Entitled Mother: I would never talk to you. Me: Sure, bye, and I hang up. It sucks, but I am glad I would be at peace for a few days. I am also proud of setting up boundaries. Oh, and this is same mother who shamed me for asking my right of inheritance after death of my father. My bros live in a big family house my father built, and my mother has refused any kind of share to us sisters, because where would my sons live? Since we daughters are well off, we don't have any right on father's property. But yet, we have duty to feed these men-child and their offsprings. F that. Their standards of living. Seems like you choose your standard of living when you choose how many kids to have in relation to your income. She will talk to you again, 100% sure. When the time comes when she, your brother, needs money, she will be in touch. I also sincerely hope that your takeaway from this is to never tell your family how much money you're spending. The pandemic wasn't kind to me or my future husband. His company folded right before virus took off, and then my company, which was planning to close at the end of the year, decided to go ahead and pull the plug, right before the magical unemployment bonus took effect, so neither of us got more than the base amount. Last summer, before the eviction moratorium took effect in our state, we made the decision to let our apartment go, to avoid having an eviction on our record, and move in with his parents. He was able to find work through the union, but it has been slow going. Last fall, I got a job that allowed me to work from home, but it was through a temp agency and in a field I knew nothing about. During this time, he has been working his backside off to get moved to higher paying work, and I have been working, learning this job, and taking on extra assignments with the hope of getting offered a permanent position with the company. We pay rent and contribute towards utilities. We also buy our own food, own bathroom and cleaning supplies, etc., while we have slowly gotten back on our feet and are waiting for the moratorium to be lifted so we can finally move out again. Rentals are almost non-existent in our city right now. His mom and stepfather have a lovely home. Stepdad has an excellent job and earns more than enough money. She doesn't and has never worked. Unfortunately, his mom is a master manipulator. She is constantly trying to guilt us into doing something by making up elaborate stories. Like this past weekend, he went to work for some OT, and I decided to sleep until 8. My phone was blown up for an hour with some back and forth story from his mom about how she needed help canning some fruit and couldn't ask her friend over to help because the bathroom was too embarrassing. I clean the hall bathroom every Saturday. When I didn't answer, because I was asleep, the messages got more and more frantic, and eventually, I have to clean this bathroom because I need help with these pears and I'm going to charge you $200. This is her way of saying, I need help canning fruit this weekend. Would you mind helping? She just can't come right out and say it. She makes up a sob story to get someone to volunteer instead, or to get money. She does this for everything, but particularly for money. She'll come pound on the door with both fists as hard as she can, screaming at the top of her lungs at 4 a.m. After we've sufficiently had a heart attack and leapt from the bed thinking the house was on fire, It's her crying about how she needs $40 for her phone bill. Her husband pays that. Why is she asking us? She will barge into the bathroom while he is taking a shower and whine that water bill is due and it costs so much money. Again, her husband pays the bills. If they were short, he would always just ask us for a little extra. Every time we turn around, she is asking us for money. We don't know if she is secretly gambling or what, but every time I hear her on the phone, she is giving some sob story to the person on the other end about needing money. Every time we see her, she is always either asking for money or bringing up how much something costs. Mind you, we are both paying rent, utilities, groceries, etc. We aren't living there for free. Even still, it's not like she and her husband are destitute. I just think she's spending money like crazy and trying to keep him from finding out. Well, recently, I just found out that the company I've been working for is taking me on permanently. This comes with a significant pay raise, plus a signing bonus, which will just about pad the rest we need for the deposit on a house once one comes available. I told my future husband to keep his mouth shut. Don't tell her about the position change, and certainly not about the raise. Got up this morning and she was laying on the money talk thick. Turns out, she went into my phone while I was in the shower, saw a text I sent to my own mother about the salary increase, which doesn't take effect for another month, and demanded I pay her the entire difference because now I can afford it. But asked that I don't tell her husband, or he will throw us out because now we can afford to live on our own. Now it makes sense that her begging for money always seems to correlate with me or future husband working OT or getting extra money somewhere. She's been going through our phones and mail. I don't know what to do. We don't have any friends or relatives that have room for us to move to temporarily and until the moratorium is lifted. The current wait list for any apartment is over a year. Edit. Yes, I have seen the 50 comments to lock my phone. My phone was locked, but there is a way to bypass it by calling it. It's not a feature on my phone to enter a password to answer it. Edited again to reiterate. Because of the moratorium on eviction for non-payment, just getting out ASAP isn't an option. Just our municipality has 3,000 standing eviction orders in court for non-payment that have been filed in anticipation of the moratorium being lifted, but that's in danger of being extended again. It has created a massive housing shortage in this area. When rentals do become available, the wait list is enormous, and the deposits, rent, and income requirements are triple what they were a year ago. The last one we tried to look at wanted 4 times the rent as a deposit, plus wanted us to have a combined $10,000 monthly income before they would even show that one-bedroom apartment. No landlord wants to rent to anyone because people have no incentive to pay rent. Once they move in, they can squat and there is nothing they can do about it. It sucks all around. I think it's time for you to get a safe and lock up any important documents, phones, when they're not on your person, etc. Make sure stepdad is informed of every issue you have with this woman. I'd also recommend documenting it. Also, be careful of social engineering. When you get your apartment, I'd make sure that the manager knows that you will call and talk to him or her before anyone comes to get a key. Otherwise, future mother-in-law will go spin a sob story and will wind up with a key to your place, which you do not need. Ditto doctor's offices. Put a password on your medical record so that she can't call and claim to be you. You'll be especially glad you did if you ever get pregnant. Several years ago, my amazing wife and I got married in early winter. We basically eloped after a fairly short courtship, though I had met her family and she had met mine. However, our families had not yet met each other. Our families would have to travel from overseas to be where we are. But after some planning, we were able to make arrangements for our families to meet in February, around Valentine's Day. We decided to meet up in a small, scenic tourist town in some mountains that was sort of between where my brother and I lived. Our families met and everything went quite well, and everyone seemed to be hitting it off. But early on, my brother had told us that his friend, entitled person, EP, would be driving through this area with his girlfriend, GF, and would just say hi. Now, I had known entitled person for several years, and while he is generally a friendly guy, he is pretty spoiled and quite entitled. In all honesty, what followed is just one of a series of other stories I have about this guy, and the major reason why I try to avoid him. But I thought he would be fine in a small dose, and I was so happy to have been married that I didn't care. Entitled person and girlfriend arrive around noon and congratulate us, say hi to the families, and in general, we have some pleasant conversation for an hour or so as we walk through this little town. Eventually, we told entitled person that it was wonderful to see him, but it was time and we were quite hungry and were going to start looking for somewhere to grab lunch. He said, "No problem, that sounds great." We all sort of looked at each other for a moment before my mom said, "Oh, well, why don't you and girlfriend join us, entitled person?" My mom had planned to treat us all for lunch anyway, though had not counted on entitled person, but it was still a wonderful time. We tried to say goodbye to entitled person again, but he was having none of it. He and girlfriend walked back to the hotel with us, but they were hanging out in the rooms my family was staying in, and we assumed that would be that. Our families met up for our celebratory dinner that my in-laws had wanted to treat us all to, with entitled person and girlfriend in tow. We said, "Hey, entitled person, this is really just a family dinner for us, so..." To which entitled person replies, "Oh, that's okay, we don't mind." Again, awkward pauses, and my gracious in-laws basically end the silence by inviting them to join us. They proceed to order very expensive meals and drinks while steering conversation towards themselves. Super weird. We split up for the night, and my wife and I went for a walk, and just kind of laughed at how weird and socially out of touch entitled person and girlfriend are. But at least we could have 1.5 days without them. Wrong. We wake up the next morning and meet up for breakfast. The hotel had a free breakfast buffet, and who is there? You guessed it. Entitled person and girlfriend are eating everything under the sun in the hotel. They had stayed in my family's room. Apparently, they were scared to drive on in the snow and had fallen while they were here. Never mind about 5 times as much snow had fallen in the morning. And of course, couldn't move on without eating free breakfast. We were going to town to walk around and grab lunch? Perfect. Entitled person and girlfriend always wanted to eat at this restaurant. Grabbing some dessert? Entitled person wants 2 scoops, please. They stayed with us the entire trip. Number of times they picked up a check? 0. Number of times they paid for themselves? 0. The whole trip they were driving out for anyway? Never happened. It is proven to be a funny, expensive little story that all of our families still laugh at. The funniest, strangest part of this whole event was that somehow we came into possession of girlfriend's iPhone charging cable. Not the adapter, just cable. This is literally the kind you can buy for about the cost of a sandwich. I kid you not, for the next week or so, entitled person was calling me to try and get this cable back for girlfriend, in spite of it costing more to come get it than just buy a new one. But what was funny, and classic entitled person, was that he always tried to orchestrate picking up the cable from us when we were out at dinner or someplace fun where he was obviously going to try and get free food, activities. He was audibly disappointed over the phone when I told him I was just leaving it behind the wheel of my car, but fortunately, we have not seen him since. I'm not a doctor, but it sounds like you picked up a nasty parasite. Tapeworms are less clingy. They left the cable behind on purpose to have an excuse to see you again later. My buddy Kalen was supposed to get married to his ex-fiancée Kaylee next weekend. They were together like 4 or 5 years and seemed like a perfect couple in love. Happy, always doing sweet things for each other, etc. We always joked that they were relationship goals. So everyone was shocked when Kaylee called us last week frantically asking if we knew where Kalen was. He just didn't come home from work that day. No warning, no nothing. I don't know what all went down, but a couple of days ago, Kaylee makes a post that the wedding is off, but there's still going to be an unwedding party reception because it's too late for her to get most of the refunds. Immediately after, Kalen starts messaging all of us upset, asking if we're going. Apparently, he was going through something, but wanted to stay together, and Kaylee broke up with him instead. Now he's devastated. He's furious that we're thinking of partying when that will be just a hard day for him, and he needs support. Our friends are split. The way I see it, I already took time off for the wedding. Our cabins are already booked, and I don't know if we can get refunds. We already bought new clothes for the wedding, and we were looking forward to a romantic weekend away in the mountains. It sucks that Kalen is heartbroken, but he kind of brought it on himself. Plus, Kaylee has upgraded the cash bar to an open bar. But my other friends think that since we're his friends first, we should be there for him when he's going through a hard time, even if it's his own dumb fault, and that we'll be responsible if he harms himself while we're partying and drinking. They say we should use the time off to do something nice with him instead. Not the a-hole, What the duck are you going through that you couldn't even call or text a person you were supposed to marry? Clearly, the excuse wasn't good enough if she broke up with him anyway. Enjoy the open bar. Not the a-hole. I guarantee you have not heard the entire story, and my guess is if she went for this level of nuclear option, he did something worse. He is now learning that actions have consequences. I say go to the party, have fun, support the person in the relationship that didn't mess up. Nope. Kalen had ample opportunity to prevent the breakup in the first place by getting himself therapy to help him through whatever he was going through, instead of pulling a disappearing act. If he still hasn't figured out that maybe he should look into that before he ducks anything else up for himself, that's on him. Besides, if other people have already decided they'd rather hang out with him than do Kaylee's thing, clearly you don't need to worry about him being alone. So what's the problem with you making a different call here?